Hello, Roadrunner fans. This is JJ Perez from Inside Runner Sports, and you are tuned in to another episode of the 13 Questions podcast, where I sit down and talk with different people inside of UTSA and ask them the same 13 questions throughout this 2022 season. We took a week off last week just because it was kind of wild with all the coverage going on to start this season, and we had actually did two of these in week one, so I'm trying to get kind of on schedule to do where we have one of these podcasts each week throughout the football season. So appreciate you guys listening to this podcast and all the comments and shares that have gone on with this podcast. It has been interesting getting to know these guys a little bit more on a personal level. We head into conference play this week with the Roadrunners. UTSA is 2-2 in non-conference play after going through a brutal, first three games against Houston, Army, and Texas, and then getting through the Texas Southern game, which wasn't a great game for the Roadrunners, but they were able to come out with the win and, set some offensive records and that. So now, the Roadrunners head to Middle Tennessee for a Friday night showdown on national television with, the Blue Raiders, pretty good team who's coming off a massive upset of nationally ranked Miami this last week. So these UTSA and Middle Tennessee games always seem to be super competitive, almost too close for comfort, if you ask me. So we'll see how the Roadrunners look on the road this week on a short week and, see if they could start their conference play pretty strong. I mean, this is as important as a game as any this season. So definitely a big week for UTSA. So we'll see how that goes. Today we sit down with offensive lineman Terrell Haynes, also known as T. Haynes, redshirt senior out of Arlington. T. Haynes has been one of the kind of cornerstones of this offensive line the last few years. He's played a lot since he's been here, and he is just kind of locked down that left guard spot. And for him to be kind of one of the elder statesmen on the offensive line, he's had a pretty significant career for the Roadrunners, and with UTSA having a new left tackle this season, it's interesting to see how he and Venley have played together on that side of the line, and certainly the team has gotten better with the offensive line play the last few weeks. So pretty interesting conversation. Hope you guys enjoy. Terrell Haynes on the 13 Questions podcast. Here we go. JJ Perez here with the 13 Questions podcast with Terrell Haynes. This is a new podcast I started where I'm asking UTSA people 13 questions throughout the season. Okay. But it's the same 13 questions. So it's sports, personal life. We'll get a mix of, hopefully we learned a little bit about you. So okay. Just, shoot from the hip. Question number one, what is your policy on naps?
Naps, okay. I think a nap needs to be over an hour, okay. Definitely. Anything below like 45 minutes is not really enough, and it's too short. So about an hour and some change, great nap.
How often do you get them in?
Try to every day, honestly. After weights and right before meetings is the time I really enjoy taking the naps because it gives me a little energy before I have to go back and watch film. Yeah. So that's a great time for a nap.
Question number two, speaking of sleeping, how often do you dream about football, and what was your most recent dream about?
Honestly, I really don't be dreaming about football, but when I do dream about football, it'd be like I'm playing football in space or something, like on some Space Jam type of vibes. And so, it's always cool when I have those type of dreams. So, yeah.
Thinking about all the people inside of UTSA football, who have you known the longest and how did you meet?
Well, it was Spence.
Yeah.
Because Spence was my roommate when I first got here.
Okay.
He's one of my best friends. Now it'd probably be Kalechi and Tremaine, simply because we was in the same class.
Okay.
And we ended up being in the same friend group, and they're my best friends now, too.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Good answer there. Question number 4, if you could pick one form of social media to use and drop all of the rest, which one would you choose and why?
Twitter, simply because that's the one I'm most comfortable with,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really the only one I use. So, yeah, probably Twitter.
Yeah. Question number 5, what kind of music do you like the most? You a big rap guy?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
What mood we talking about? Like pregame or like?
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you, who are the 3 greatest rappers of your generation?
Okay, so right now, I'd probably say Lil Baby.
Uh-huh.
He's got to be top 3. Dirk.
Okay.
And that's tough.
Yeah,
That's
it's a tough question, yeah. There's a lot of good guys out there.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Future.
Future, okay. Well, what are you bumping in pregame?
I'm always bumping some, Future, Moneybag.
Yeah.
Young Boy a little bit. Sometimes, though, when I'm not in the mood for that type of stuff, I'll slow it down, get some 90s R&B going.
Okay.
On the bus ride to the stadium.
Yeah.
Before it's time to turn
Yeah,
up.
that makes sense. Question number 6, this is something I struggle with, so feel free to, sidestep this one if you want. But what is the best way to get out of a conversation with someone who doesn't stop talking to you?
I find it just, saying like, being respectful, of course, but, just be like, okay, have a great day. It was great talking to you. Just, get it over with. So it's probably the best way.
Yeah. Question number 7, how would you sum up your career here? Like the journey. Tell me a little bit about how you came here, why you came here, and then just how you think you've done since you've been here.
Okay, so my process here was a little different than most people probably think. I was recruited here under the premises that I thought I was going to play D-line.
Yeah.
And so, Coach talks about it sometimes, but I thought I was going to be playing D-line. I got in the room in meetings and stuff after summer, and I was in the O-line room. And, it wasn't something I signed up for, and so because I told them, I really wasn't feeling O-line after high school. I got injured high school playing O-line. And so, it was a little bit of an emotional roller coaster going through that. And then, after those 2 seasons of not winning, it really took a toll on me too because, after high school I wanted to change. I wanted to go to a winning program.
Yeah.
And I was sold on a dream that's come to fruition of, being a championship caliber team, winning in a place that winning hasn't been done before, and, creating a culture of excellence. And so, these previous 3 years with Coach Traylor has been a delight. And so I feel, proud of myself being able to come out of that and be able to start and then win the first championship for UTSA as an O-lineman, and perfect my craft as O-lineman.
That's a heck of a story. When you started out, you probably didn't think you'd ever make it this far, right? Yeah. Question number 7. That's question number 8. You big NBA guy?
I am an NBA guy.
Who's your NBA GOAT? Jordan, Kobe, LeBron?
I got to go with Jordan.
Okay.
Going 6-0 in the finals is just, it's something about it that can't be, replicated. So
that's a unique answer for a guy your age. Most of the guys go LeBron, right?
Don't get me wrong. I love LeBron. He is, he's like, for me, it's Jordan is 1A and then LeBron's 1B. So yeah.
Thinking about your journey in the previous question, I want to give you a hypothetical here. A genie appears and offers you the opportunity to go back to the beginning of your career. You get to keep all the knowledge you've learned throughout this time. Would you go back and start all over?
I wouldn't say I would go back because I learned so many things from this process, and it's changed me so much. Not so much, but I've grown as a person through what I went through, and so I do appreciate my experience there. So I don't think I would go back. I just let it play out as is.
All right, good answer there. Question number 10. Coach Traylor, your position coach, Coach Maddox, and then Coach Philo have to miss a game for some crazy reason. Now, I want you to think about movie stars or celebrities. The athletic department is going to let you pick those replacements, but it has to be a celebrity. It could be another sports athlete, movie star, music, anything. So head coach, offensive line coach, and strength and conditioning. Who you picking to get in there?
All right. So let's see. Replacing Coach Traylor, that's really tough. Let me see. It's got to be somebody motivational. Somebody who can get the message clear to the point. Let's see. I'm gonna probably somebody who's calm. Feel like so. I'd probably go with like a Denzel or something.
Okay. Yeah, that's Denzel. A good one.
Then O-line coach is hard to even think about replacing Coach Maddox.
Yeah,
because he's a unique character. Probably have to go with like. Ooh, I don't even know. That's tough. Like a Triple H or something. You know?
Okay.
Somebody to get the O-line going. Somebody who will be in front of the O-line, fearless, stuff like that. Coach Philo, there's no replacing.
No replacing him.
There's no replacing Coach Philo. The athletics department told me to do that. We'd be in some trouble. So
we've had a lot of The Rock comparisons with Coach Philo.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Question number 11. Thinking about your life, what new habit or lifestyle change have you made recently or in the past that you're proud of?
Self-reflection, definitely. Coach Traylor brings it up a lot in meetings, having the ability to press pause and think about it and think about where you are today versus where you were like a year ago or a few months ago. And so that's been really important for me, especially like when I feel like I'm going through a troubling time.
That's hard, right? Because we're in like what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I get how that's a good trait to have. Question number 12. When you think about UTSA football 5 years from now, what are you most optimistic about, and what worries you the most?
I'm most optimistic about where this thing is going. Us going to the AAC is amazing because in a few years, the champion of that league will be in the national playoff. You know what I'm saying? And so having that opportunity here at UTSA is just, it gives me chills right now thinking about seeing UTSA in that playoff bracket. And so, anytime you get something like that, it just creates buzz for recruiting, for TV networks and all other type of stuff that bring revenue to the San Antonio. What worries me, though, is the fans. I love the fans when they're into us and when they're giving us everything. The Alamo Dome is no place like any other. We played at Texas with 105,000 people, and we said, man, like, this is what it sounds like in the Alamo Dome with 60,000 people.
Yeah.
And so to see how packed the Alamo could get in these 5 years coming, especially if UTSA goes in the right direction, it gives me chills, and I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. Last question number 13. Thinking about just your overall time here, what would you tell the younger version of yourself? And then, just what would you tell the younger version of yourself?
I would tell the younger version of myself to be patient and to believe in you, keep betting on you, because that's ultimately what it ended up coming down to. You go from playing every snap in high school, and then you go to that learning process of a true freshman, who's not really playing unless obviously like Spence, who's a freak, and learning the game more, and so I would tell myself, keep betting on you, be patient, and become a master of the game.
It's hard for a young kid to come in and, kind of learn the college football life, right? Because it's a lot different from high school. I see a lot of young guys struggle.
Yeah, so it's definitely a learning curve, and the ones who master that curve faster, those are the ones that have more success early on. And so, yeah.
All right, that'll wrap it up. Terrell Haynes on the 13 Questions podcast. Thanks, T. Haynes.
No problem.
That was UTSA offensive lineman Terrell Haynes. Appreciate Terrell taking the time. Actually recorded that last week after the weekly UTSA radio show. So appreciate UTSA setting that up and T. Haynes for taking the time. Pretty interesting guy. I like the story where he talked about, transitioning from D-line to O-line, and then the question I think that's becoming my favorite in these podcasts are the way A lot of these guys won't go back and change their career. And I guess maybe that's a younger thing or whatnot. But if I had the chance to do some stuff over in my life, I think I'd probably take it. But pretty good self-reflection there from T. Haynes, and pretty good conversation overall. So again, thanks to UTSA for setting that up, and Terrell for taking the time. 2-0 Hogs, one of the leaders. That's the nickname for the UTSA offensive line. So those guys don't get a lot of attention and credit and love. So we've seen a few of those guys get some NIL deals these last few weeks, and get showcased a little bit more than usual. So that's always, as a big guy myself, it's always nice to see the big guys getting a little love, and that's an important part of the offensive success is how that offensive line plays. So I think they've gotten better each week they've played. The injuries have been documented, but it's next man up, and you got to keep going. There's a lot of football left in this season, so we'll continue to watch how the O-line plays, and appreciate again Terrell for taking the time, and we'll be back next week with a new guest to be determined on the 13 Questions podcast. Appreciate everyone listening. Thanks a bunch.